So I wanted to give y'all an update on something related to Spyro 4, based on things that I've said, things that others have said, and what people have been expecting, and it has to do with the 2025 Game Awards. Let's talk about it. What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and look, I'm going to be honest with you. This video might sting a little bit. I would not be who I am today if I reported all hype and no reality. But we need to talk about the Game Awards in 2025 and why I'm starting to think that we may not see the purple boy there. So in the past, we have spoken about when we'll actually see Spyro 4, and many people, including myself, expected it to be at the Game Awards in 2025. And the evidence for it makes sense. Activision announces a lot of projects there, and Xbox is planning on announcing many projects at the showcase. However, after digging deeper into Activision's internal structure and looking at precedented data and how they are operating post-acquisition, my thinking has changed. In previous videos where I spoke about Spyro 4's potential announcement, I said that Spyro's release depended on a few things. 1, scale, and 2, who is marketing it. We know the start time of the project, but if the project is much bigger than we initially thought, it was possible that it would take Toys for Bob more time to develop that game. But the second point is what I want to focus on today, and that is who is marketing it. See, I had said before that I think fall 2026 is when we will get to play Spyro 4, and I still think as long as everything goes smoothly and no major delays or complications happen, that it's still going to be the ballpark of when we will probably get to play it. However, who was handling the marketing was something that I was unsure about. Before, I thought it would be Xbox that was handling it. Xbox has a way of announcing things quite early. While they have been a lot better about it lately, they still announce things when they're about a year out. At least that's before, any delays. So because I thought Xbox was handling the marketing, we could see it at the Game Awards in 2025. But after further research, I'm more uncertain. Recently, I did a video that I think gave a lot more clarity to how Spyro, Crash, and Tony Hawk are going to be handled. To not rehash the whole video, there is a team internally at Activision called Emerging Franchises. This team is tasked with handling games outside of Call of Duty, more specifically Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and Tony Hawk. Think of the Emerging Franchises team as the gatekeepers. They aren't building the game, but they control its marketing. They essentially decide when the trailer drops. And unlike Xbox, who announces games years in advance, this team seemingly operates on their favorite kind of schedule that has been established. Now, I made those previous predictions that I said before about Spyro potentially coming to Game Awards 2025 before I understood the Emerging Franchises division and how they work. But now that we know how this team operates, my thoughts and opinion has changed. And if you want to see that Emerging Franchises video, I'll link it at the end of the video and in the pinned comment below. Now, the reason we believe that fall 2026 is the most likely time for Spyro's next entry is because nearly every single Spyro-related event or content, whether it's Reignited, its ports, CTR Grand Prix, or Crash Team Rumble expansions, Spyro is always dropping in the early fall, between September and November. We also know Toys for Bob was able to make Crash Bandicoot 4 in about 2 years, and Spyro Reignited was made in about a year, give or take a month. So if we give them an extra year for less staff and getting their footing as an indie studio, and we know the start date of its development, plus a reoccurring release window, fall 2026 is the most likely scenario in my opinion. So why am I so unsure about the upcoming Game Awards? Because we have now seen our first project post-Xbox acquisition from the Emerging Franchises team, the internal team handling the Spyro brand, and that is Tony Hawk 3+4. Tony Hawk's newest remaster was handled and set up exactly like an Activision title. We know Activision's scheme. They have followed it for almost a decade. They announced the game as in development about 5 months before it actually launches. It keeps the game's marketing condensed and hot with no chance of it cooling off. I have spoken about it extensively on the channel in the past, but we have an idea of the target release window, and we assume that Emerging Franchises is following the same established scheme, then we go 5 months back from that release window, and it lands us in either spring or summer of 2026, which pushes the Game Awards 2025 outside of this window. Now, am I saying that for sure that Spyro will not be at the Game Awards 2025? No, I'm not saying that. Yes, it is possible, but I don't have as much faith in that date now after I've collected more information. Now, some of you have said, why can't Toys for Bob just give us a tease or a leak like in the past? While I do think Toys for Bob has actually given us some soft leaks in regards to Spyro 4, I think they may be being more careful this time. Wumpa League, or Crash Team Rumble, was teased very, very early, but because of internal chaos, it was paused, frozen, shelved, moved around, and it created a toxic cycle of expectation and disappointment for us fans. The leadership at Toys for Bob probably don't want that again. They know that a shorter and more explosive marketing campaign is better than a long, painful, deflating wait. But here's the thing. Look at Spyro Reignited. The colors, the characters, the music. This was all made in about a year. Now imagine giving the same team about 3 years to come up with their own ideas, to develop on top of what they learned from Reignited and create an experience that Spyro fans have never before had. If we want the Spyro 4 that is truly big and ambitious like we think it's going to be, we want them to take this extra time. We want the best possible Spyro project. So while my personal expectations have changed, my previous statement of 2026 most likely being the year that we finally see Spyro is unchanged. I still think, even if we don't see Spyro at the Game Awards, 2026 is going to be a huge year for us Spyro fans. I know the journey, the wait, and everything has been long. I would even say it's been too long, but just hang on just a little bit longer. Now, if you're interested in this emergent franchise's team, I do a full breakdown right here in this video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye!